The 8 most dangerous plane landings ever. Air travel has now become so popular that you can find an airport in almost every part of the world. From remote desert locations to snow-capped mountaintops, it seems that the most interesting and exotic destinations can only be reached by landing on a dangerous runway. In no particular order, we put together a list of the 8 most dangerous plane landings that are every pilot's worst nightmare. By the way, make sure to click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all of our engaging videos and use that trigger finger by smashing that like button. Now, let's get into it. Number 8. Princess Juliana International Airport, Caribbean. Regarded as one of the busiest airports in the Caribbean and the most dangerous in the world, the extremely short runway, 7,152 feet, at Princess Juliana Airport means that the planes have to approach the runway at about 60 feet above a crowded beach area. Princess Juliana International Airport, also called Sint Maarten International Airport, services the Dutch side of the island of St. Martin. That's Sint Maarten in Dutch. This airport is considered dangerous because of its touristy beach location in regards to the low-flying planes. Jet blasts from planes have been known to knock beachgoers into the water as the runway starts just off the beach. Maho Public Beach is located at the end of this runway, which results in huge gusts of wind and sand for sunbathers, but also offering up a perfect Instagram shot. The runway is 7,100 feet long and planes must approach over the water at an extremely low altitude, appearing to be just feet above the heads of the public. Number 7. Gibraltar International Airport. Due to the meager size of the British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar, the airport runway has to extend into the sea and pass through Gibraltar's main road, Winston Churchill Avenue. This means that each time a plane arrives or departs the airport, traffic at both sides of the road stops via a traffic light system. The Gibraltar Airport, sometimes called North Front Airport, is considered the most dangerous airport in Europe. One of the scarier aspects of this airport is that a busy street, Winston Churchill Avenue, intersects the runway. This 5,500-foot runway is not really that hard to land at, but the city's main street intersects with the runway and has to be closed when a plane lands. The short runway also abruptly ends at the sea on both ends, forcing pilots to hit the brakes immediately after landing. Gibraltar Airport was originally an emergency airfield for the British Navy. Today, the airport is used to haul cargo to the area and to bring in tourists. Number 6. Kai Tak Airport, Hong Kong. Although Kai Tak Airport is now closed, it will forever be remembered as one of the most dangerous in the world. Surrounded by high-rise buildings, planes approaching the runway would have to make several complex turns to be in position for landing. The maneuver became known in the piloting community as the Hong Kong turn and as the Kai Tak heart attack amongst passengers. And with only one airfield runway, it could not meet the increasing flights anymore. As there were many mountains near Hong Kong's Kai Tak Airport, a kind of meteor wind shear occurred frequently near the airport runway. The low-altitude wind shear is the most serious threat to the takeoff and landing, which can not only make the aircraft deviate, but also may make the aircraft lose stability. If the plane lands in heavy rain at night, that's another serious challenge. On stormy nights, some pilots had to wait in the air, keep the plane hovering, and try again. If the pilot misjudged or mishandled the situation, the consequences would be quite serious. Number 5. Paro Airport, Bhutan. Paro Airport, hidden amongst the Himalayan mountains in Bhutan, is considered so challenging that only 8 pilots are qualified to land there. The airport in Bhutan allows only 17 qualified pilots who are authorized to land on a runway that is surrounded by severe 18,000-foot mountain peaks. The 6,500-foot runway only allows for arrivals and departures during the daytime. The dramatic approach to the runway is completely out of sight for the pilots until the last minute as they maneuver between mountains at a 45-degree angle before dropping quickly onto the runway. There is even a point when the bottom of the plane comes perilously close to mountaintop homes on approach. One red cliffside home is the key focal point for pilots on their approach. But when the passengers break into applause on landing, and you walk out into the magnificent fresh air and temple-style airport, it is well worth the adventure. Planes are only allowed to land during the day when visibility is at its best. Number 4. Toncontín Airport, Honduras. Ranked as the second most dangerous airport in the world by the History Channel, the approach to Toncontín International Airport is considered as one of the most difficult in the world, especially in inclement weather conditions. On May 30th, 2008, Flight 390 overran a runway at Toncontín Airport and rolled out into a street, crashing into an embankment and smashing several cars in the process. 5 people were confirmed dead as a result of the accident, with 2 fatalities on the ground. Due to the location next to the mountains, as well as the narrow size of the runway, the landing is very complicated. Pilots are forced to make a dramatic sharp turn and land near the valley, and the experience is often compared to landing on an aircraft carrier. I personally experienced the frequent wind gusts and poor weather conditions that hamper the pilots, as they must make a direct head-on landing with the biggest fear of having a large aircraft overshoot the runway if not landed perfectly on target. As we deplaned, machine gun toting security guards greeted the passengers, which only added to our dramatic arrival. Number 3. Madeira Airport, Portugal. Madeira Airport, also known as Funchal Airport, measured just 5,250 feet long when it first opened in 1964. A few years later, an incoming flight carrying 164 passengers plunged over the steep bank of the short runway and crashed onto the beach, killing 131 people. Despite modifications to extend the runway by several feet, Madeira Airport remains an extremely difficult and dangerous runway for even the most experienced pilots. The mountainous terrain and close proximity to the ocean mean that pilots have to make some tricky maneuvers in order to put themselves on course for the runway. Engineers had to build a platform to expand this runway, where the landing strip is located between steep cliffs and the ocean. They built a series of platforms on an artificial island extending from the current runway. Over 180 columns hold the runway up, which have to withstand serious shock loading during landings. A limited number of pilots are qualified to fly into this airport after completing advanced training on a simulator. Number 2. Congonhas Airport, Brazil. Congonhas Airport, located in the center of São Paulo, is probably the airport with the most slippery runways in the world. São Paulo's Congonhas Airport is well known to pilots for its short runway and dangerous approach. The bad drainage system in this case is the main danger for the experienced pilots. At present, the airport has 2 runways, the length of which is 1,435 and 1,940 meters. The general public is familiar with the large airport of São Paulo due to a series of terrible airport crashes. One of the first aircraft crashes near the airport happened in 1941. The plane, which was approaching the Congonhas Airport, could not overcome the mountain massif and crashed. The number of victims was 13 people. 3 years later, the fog surrounding the city became the cause of the accident, which cost 16 lives. The runways are also considered the most slippery in the world and have resulted in a large number of fatal crashes. Number 1. Narsarsuaq Airport, Greenland. Narsarsuaq Airport, located in Greenland, is not only one of the most dangerous airports in the world, but also a real historical site. The extension of the only runway is about 1,830 meters. Over the past few years, the airport has received more than 25,000 people annually. Planes flying into Narsarsuaq Airport must fly through a valley-like fjord before making a 90-degree turn to be on target for the runway. Some of the dangers that pilots may encounter here range from severe turbulence and icebergs drifting into their flight path. The strong winds are the most threatening element to landing on the 6,000-foot runway. And don't even think about visiting here if the neighboring volcano erupts with blinding ash. Today, it is the only international airport in Greenland. Among the civic aims the airport has been started to use since 1949. A few years later, the first major aircraft crash happened in the south of Greenland. Do you want to try and kiss danger? Where among these airports do you want to land at? Let us know in the comment section below. And hey, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so we can continue giving you the best contents. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.